During my university years, I bought a boyfriend. As long as he was with me, I would take care of his family's medical expenses. This poor top student followed me for 4 years in humiliation. Later, my family went bankrupt. When we broke up, he was still indifferent, without a word to keep me. Later on, I worked as a waitress at a karaoke to pay off debts, while he became a tech tycoon and got together with the class beauty from those days. He asked me, "Do you regret it?" "No, but I do." So many years after graduation, I never thought I would reunite with Yang Jingji in this way. When serving fruit plates, I kept my head down, afraid he would see my face. Su Wanxing sat beside him, a perfect match, handsome and beautiful. "Waitress," Yang Jingji called me. "Slice the orange." I turned my back to him and sliced the orange. A long time ago, when I liked eating oranges, Yang Jingji would always slice them for me. He was skilled with a knife, cutting each slice evenly. Back then, I thought he loved me. Later I realized it was just his habit. When he sliced oranges, he thought of everything except me. After not seeing him for 4 years, it felt like half a lifetime had passed. Somehow, the guests started talking about romances from their student days. Someone said, "I heard that Mr. Yang had a girlfriend in university for 4 years." My hand paused. Yang Jingji just hummed. How wonderful. For years, a complete university period, Yang Jingji didn't continue the topic. The person felt awkward and tried to continue the conversation. For years, must be hard to forget, right? Silence flowed like a tranquil river. After a long while, Yang Jingji chuckled lightly. "Not really, Jingji is being generous for not hating her." Su Wanxing explained gracefully. "I went to the same school as Jingji. Back then it was really, well, it was tough on him. If not for his ex-girlfriend getting in the way, would it have taken so long for me and Jingji to get together?" Right. Miss Su is a big star. No matter how good the ex-girlfriend is, can she be better than a star? The atmosphere warmed up again. I pressed down my hat, just wanting to leave quickly. The fruit knife cut my hand, and I hissed, drawing the guests' attention, "What's the matter? Can't even cut a fruit properly?" Su Wanxing complained. "Sorry, I'll get a clean plate." I was about to run with the plate. "Wait," Yang Jingji suddenly stopped me. "Turn around." My body seemed nailed in place. 1 second, 2 seconds, the shift manager came over at the right time. "Sorry, this waitress is new, still not skilled. Today's fruit plates are free for you." The manager winked at me. "Why don't you go get a new one?" I managed to escape. Later, the shift manager told me, "Be smarter next time. We all started as newbies. If you get complained about, you'd have worked for nothing tonight." "Thank you." "You're welcome. Especially be careful with that VIP room. It's full of important guests, especially the youngest and most handsome one in the middle. He's the boss of an innovative tech company. We can't afford to offend him." "Sister, I'm a bit scared. Can you help me deliver the oranges?" "Sure." I sighed in relief. If there's anyone in this world who has thoroughly offended Yang Jingji, it can only be me. I'm that annoying ex he talks about. I remember, during my freshman year, Yang Jingji wore faded old clothes, standing out of place among the new students. He was visibly poor, but also visibly tall. I liked his cold tone when he spoke, and the way his thin eyelids drooped when he looked at me. Yang Jingji was very short of money, and the quota for poor students' aid was snatched by someone with connections. So one evening after class, I boldly took his tender hand. "Yang Jingji, I like you. Be with me. I'm quite rich. We can share the living expenses. If not, I'll even pay you for a kiss." Of course, he refused, but at that time, my life was smooth sailing. I didn't understand what defeat was. The more he refused, the more I clung, until his grandfather who raised him was critically ill. I paid off his medical bills without blinking. Yang Jingji finally bowed his head to me. I foolishly thought I had done a great favor. Much later I realized, I got him, but I also broke him. After we got together, he still worked every day to earn living expenses. He didn't use much of my money. But things got worse. Rumors about Yang Jingji spread at school, saying he sold his body for money. People's gazes at him changed. Someone gave him an ugly nickname. At that time I was still optimistic and naive, pulling his hand and saying, "Ignore them, they're just jealous." I lived in my own ivory tower, never realizing that Yang Jingji was fighting alone. In our senior year, my family went bankrupt. I didn't tell Yang Jingji. I just called him out and said, "Let's break up." "Why?" "I am tired of you." Okay, that's how we broke up. I guess he was happy then because he finally regained his freedom. On the day we broke up, I snapped my SIM card, cancelled WeChat, and took a train to another city to work and pay off debts. Until 3 months ago, I returned here. Yang Jingji seemed to be doing well. He was always a top student, a super genius who easily topped our department in college. Only 4 years after graduation, he was already a tech magnate who could be featured in finance magazines. Suan Xing was the class beauty of our class, who debuted in her junior year. I didn't expect they'd end up together. That's good, that's good. I covered my chest, suppressing the sourness. At 4 in the morning, I finished work. I was the last to leave. My colleagues thought no one was there. They had turned off the lights early, and the elevator was stopped. I pressed the elevator button irritably, hoping to light it up. Make a call. Yang Jingji's voice suddenly sounded behind me. I stiffly called a colleague. The elevator restarted, and I stood in the cramped space with Yang Jingji. Do you always finish work this late? He asked indifferently. Only after the guests leave can we go. Is the salary here high? It's okay. I lowered my head, pressing down the brim of the hat on my face. It seemed Yang Jingji hadn't recognized me. He chatted casually for a while, then looked at his watch. This elevator is really slow. My girlfriend is probably getting anxious. She's very clingy and loves to act cute. I was stunned, realizing he was talking about Suan Xing. And you? So late from work, doesn't your boyfriend come to pick you up? I live close by. The elevator arrived, the door opened, and I quickly ran out. Yang Jingji, who had been calm for several minutes, finally erupted in anger at this moment. Why run? Where can you run to? You mean, disappear, vanish, is that fun? Yang Jingji pressed closer step by step. He was still the boy I remembered, just the greenness had faded, becoming more mature and restrained, canceling your WeChat, changing your phone number, even the teachers couldn't find you. You mean, you're really something. I slowly raised my head, meeting his gaze. You should have used your connections to investigate, right? My family went bankrupt, my dad got into financial disputes, and still hasn't paid off the debts. Why didn't you tell me then? I was speechless. Because you couldn't let go of your pride. Miss you? No. Before I could finish, Suan Xing walked over. Hey? You mean? It really is you. She was even prettier than during college, with every strand of hair perfectly in place. Long time no see. Everyone in class has been looking for you. Where have you been these 4 years? I went to the south. No wonder. Suan Xing looked at my clothes, surprised. You mean, isn't that the down jacket you bought in your junior year? It's all worn out now. Why are you still wearing it? I used to buy clothes, wear them for the first year, and then throw them away. Her question was meant to embarrass me, but I was already numb. It's not broken, it can still be worn. Suan Xing understood. Are you having financial difficulties now? You should have said earlier. We old classmates can help you. She pulled out a card. Take it, don't need to pay it back. Thank you, but no need. I looked at her, then at Yang Jingji, and quietly smiled. I'm getting married soon, remember to come. The moment I finished, Yang Jingji was completely stunned. A waitress of the karaoke is just my part-time job. I still have work during the day. On Monday, a client came to the company. Colleagues were gossiping. I heard this client is a genius. He initially created this system to find someone. Huh? Find who? Ex-girlfriend maybe. My eyelids twitched, a bad feeling looming. Did he find her? I don't know. The system isn't finished yet. Many big shots have invested a lot of money. It has huge potential. That's why our boss also wants to cooperate. I organized the documents. At the reception room door, Yang Jingji's voice came out. Regarding cooperation, I need to consider it further. I pushed the door in and placed the documents on the table. Yang Jingji's gaze was intense. What are you doing here? Working. This is my main job, the boss curiously asked. Little you know Mr. Yang. I thought for a moment, then answered, we've met before. Just met? Yang Jingji got angry again. Don't know what he's angry about. Wasn't it him who walked away without looking back on the day we broke up? He pointed at me. Mr. Li, I can sign the contract, on the condition that you transfer Yu Ming to be my assistant. The boss immediately agreed, not even giving me a chance to object. They talked all day. In the evening, I picked up my bag and left work on time. Yang Jingji stopped me. Where are you going? I didn't let you leave, Mr. Yang. I can't work overtime today. I have other things to do. What is it? I'm going to deliver takeout. Yang Jingji looked at me incredulously. I used to be so delicate that I never touched takeout. during the 4 years of university, Yang Jingji would go do takeout deliveries after class. His dinner was often just a box of food provided by the takeout company. Once I went to find him, in a cramped room, he and a group of writers were huddled together, digging into the boxes of rice. I said, "Yang Jingji, how can you eat this? It's not clean." His expression was very uncomfortable. "Clean or not, does it matter? Come on, accompany me to eat steak." I pulled him to a newly opened Western restaurant. The average cost per person was over 500. He stood at the restaurant door for a long time, silently taking off his takeout uniform. After my family's financial downfall, I finally understood his emotions that day. Just like today, it started snowing. The ground was slippery, I fell, and the meal scattered. I called the customer to explain, but was scolded terribly. The customer said, "Don't make excuses. Being late is being late." My scraped palm hurt to the bone in the cold winter, but I couldn't care less, kept apologizing. Yang Jingji suddenly appeared, helping me up with my bike. I don't know when he came, how long he watched. I instinctively hid my hands behind my back. "Don't hide." His voice was hoarse, his eyes very red. "Go wash it quickly. I need to deliver the meal first. Get in the car, I'll take you there." The customer lived on the first floor. I delivered the meal. The person muttered, "Damn, even people driving Porsches do takeout?" I still had another order to take. Yang Jingji said, "Don't deliver anymore." "I can't. I've earned too little tonight." "Then I'll buy it." "What?" Ding dong. The system automatically accepted the order he assigned. "I'm buying your time tonight." Yang Jingji took me to his house. I stood at the entrance, refusing to go in. "Suwan Xing will be angry," Yang Jingji said. "Do you still have the energy to care about others after falling into such a state?" Besides the scraped hands, I was covered in dirty snow water. Also, Yu Ming, look at my room. Does it look like a woman has been here? You guys don't live together? I've never been with her at all. Yang Jingji threw a contract on me. 6 months ago she found me, proposing cooperation. She didn't want to be sexually harassed, asked me to pretend to be her boyfriend, and she would also help me deal with troublesome clients. He paused, as if afraid I wouldn't understand, and explained further. "Some clients like to push women into people's beds, thinking everyone plays that game. I'm annoyed. Suwan Xing helps me block those." This contract was clearly written, not to interfere with each other's private lives. Yang Jingji took my hand, treating my wounds. I saw a row of unopened hand creams on the shelf. It was the brand I used to love. Yang Jingji bought the whole set and kept it at home. "Today, I asked your colleagues about you." He spoke heavily. "You don't have a boyfriend. You even said you were single at last week's company gathering. Yu Ming, you deliberately lied to me, right?" "I didn't lie to you." "Then show me a photo of you with that man." "We haven't taken photos together." "You love taking photos, but you haven't taken any with your new love?" You reminded me. "I'll take some next time and show you." Yang Jingji was amused by me. He suddenly leaned on the sofa, completely enveloping me. The pressure intense, I couldn't move. Even through the sweater, I could feel his warm body temperature. "I bought your time. You know what to do, right? I'll return the money to you." Yang Jingji, "I really am getting married." He traced down my shoulder, but stopped at my wrist. "Getting married, but still wearing the bracelet your ex-boyfriend gave you. Isn't that inappropriate?" There was a bracelet on my wrist, dim and lusterless with time. This was the first gift Yang Jingji gave me. When I was 19, there was a week when, apart from attending classes, I hardly saw him. He was running between various part-time jobs, busier than ever. On my birthday, my parents held a party for me at a high-end restaurant. I told Yang Jingji, but he didn't come. I waited, and finally, he called in the evening. He said he was waiting for me outside the restaurant. In the heavy snow, my boy stood tall like a pine tree. He was covered in dust, just like me today, his yellow takeout uniform covered in mud. At that time, I didn't understand anything, only complained that he came too late. Yang Jingji ruffled my hair, saying he brought me a birthday gift. The bracelet was a basic model, not expensive, but also completely beyond his financial level. I loved it, wore it on my wrist on the spot, and never took it off. Later my parents called me, asking who I was talking to. They didn't like Yang Jingji. They felt he wasn't good enough for me. When I turned back, Yang Jingji had already disappeared into the snow. To this day, I still occasionally remembered this scene. At least when I was 19, Yang Jingji liked me, right? That bracelet, he worked day and night to earn. Was he also rushing and falling in the snow like me tonight, yet still fearlessly moving forward for that bracelet? But now, he's pressing me, forcing me. He keeps the luxury goods I used to like at his house. Is he still hung up on me? Or is he humiliating me? I can't figure it out. Unconsciously my eyes moisten. Yang Jingji freezes, then starts to panic. He has always been helpless when I cry. This is still the same as before. He clumsily wipes my tears. Don't cry, don't cry. It's my fault. I was just scaring you. Today is your 26th birthday. I bought you a new bracelet. What? I had forgotten myself. Today is my birthday. Yang Jingji pulls out a new gift box. Take a look. Do you like it? He wants to help me change the bracelet. You mean, can we? Before he could finish, the doorbell rang. Xiao Hui stood at the door, a cigarette in his mouth. You mean? I've come to pick her up. Who are you? I'm her fiancé. Didn't she tell you? Yang Jingji was stunned. The bracelet fell onto the carpet. I left with Xiao Hui. He didn't roll down the car window, but kept smoking one cigarette after another, choking me into coughing. Xiao Hui and I knew each other before. When my family wasn't bankrupt, he confessed to me, but at that time I was obsessed with Yang Jingji, rejecting him several times. Until last week, he suddenly came to find me. Xiao Hui said, if I marry him, he would help me pay off the debts. I asked why. He smugly said, I want to prove that you chose the wrong person back then. Only I can save you. That poor boy will only drag you down. Oh, he wants to marry me just for his heroism, just to outshine me. How ridiculous. Today, I had no choice but to ask for his help. A phone call would do. I could find an excuse to leave. I don't know how he ended up at the door. I coldly said, why pretend to be my fiancé? What's the difference? We're getting married soon anyway. I haven't agreed to you yet. Do you have other choices? Miss you. Wake up. You owe a lot of debts. Anyone who marries you is taking a huge loss. Who else would want you besides me? That guy just now? Xiao Hui was contemptuous. That's your poor college boyfriend, right? Let me tell you, he's just here to humiliate you. He was suppressed by you before and didn't dare to retaliate. Now that you're down and out, who knows how he's laughing at you inside? That's none of your business. How is it not? He stole you from me before. Now I have a chance to cut him in their size. Xiao Hui, I'm not your property. I didn't agree to you before, and I won't in the future. I got out of the car. Xiao Hui didn't stop me. Whether you agree or not, is it up to you to say? You mean, think about your family. His frivolous face, somehow, made me think of the past. Those who gossiped and mocked Yang Jingji were just like this. Was I also like this in Yang Jingji's heart? The news of my return spread among classmates, along with my family's struggles. My roommate, Wen, reconnected with me. She's getting married and asked if I was willing to be her bridesmaid. This was our agreement from before. The later married one would be the bridesmaid for the other. On the wedding day, many old classmates came. I added everyone's WeChat one by one. Wen, in her wedding dress, had tears in her eyes. Little you, I always thought you'd be the first one among us four to get married. If I got married, how could I be your bridesmaid, you dare say, disappearing for 4 years? I was so mad. I was wrong. I won't leave anymore. I'll stay and make it up to you. Wen broke into laughter. Why did you vanish back then? You could have told us if you were in trouble. We could have helped you. I looked down at my toes. Thought for a while, then spoke out the feelings I had kept inside for years. I've never faced such a big setback in my life. Wen, do you know? It's like my whole life collapsed. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't face everyone's gaze. Even pity felt painful. It was impulsive. I just erased all my contacts. Wen sighed. Yang Jingji was almost crazy looking for you. What? I was stunned. Didn't you know? He used every method, asked teachers, asked the school, almost went to the police. He was a poor student back then, didn't have much connections. He couldn't find you and went to your house. Wen saw my expression and continued, you know, he's really afraid of your parents. But he gathered his courage and went. But who would have thought? Your whole family had left, even your parents were gone. That was the first time I saw Yang Jingji break down. He sat at your house's doorstep, crying like a dog. Later, he heard you might be in the south, so he went to find you, but still didn't find you. Where exactly were you? I slowly said, Guangzhou, Guiyang, Kunming, I can't count, many places. Because we were constantly being chased for debts, our family changed names. Almost every half a month, we had to move. No wonder he couldn't find you. Wen said, shaking her head. Anyway, he finally returned to Beijing disheartened, then started working on that person-finding data system. I didn't understand. I thought Yang Jingji didn't care at all about my whereabouts. Before graduation in our senior year, I heard him talking to his dorm mate. The dorm mate asked him, "What are your plans after graduation? Marry Yu Ming?" Yang Jingji said indifferently, "No." I was greatly affected that day. Soon after, my family fell apart. I directly broke up with him, and he didn't hold back at all, but looking for me everywhere. What does that mean? Regret after losing? I was a bit confused. When went through the bouquet, I was distracted, didn't catch it. The bouquet landed in Yang Jingji's hands. The host said, "This gentleman got the bouquet. Congratulations, congratulations, good things are coming. Will you give it to your girlfriend when you go back?" "No need for that." Yang Jingji walked towards me, handed me the bouquet. The crowd cheered, almost blowing off the roof. Even when one was screaming, I was in a dilemma whether to accept it or not. "Yang Jingji, you've seen my fiancé. Even though it was fake, I don't believe your taste could get that bad. Just pretend my taste is bad. Fine, even if he's real." Yang Jingji leaned close, whispering in my ear. "Then dump him, come back to me." His deep voice was like a spell, full of seductive. I almost compromised, just a little bit. After so many years, Yang Jingji still had the power to drive me crazy. After the ceremony, old classmates came to drink with me. I accidentally drank too much. Later I just remember sitting in the stairwell. No matter how lively it was outside, the stairwell was always the quietest place. Yang Jingji found me. "What are you doing here?" I turned my head, pouting at him, and then I started crying. "Yang Jingji, I'm tired." Yang Jingji took responsibility for taking me home. I cried all the way, couldn't walk, got out of the car and he just carried me horizontally. "I'm so tired. I have to work every day. When will it end?" "Yesterday a customer splashed a drink on me. It's so unfair." "It wasn't my fault." Yang Jingji, "I want to eat salmon and sweet shrimp." Sob sob. I almost forgot their taste. Alcohol took effect. I rambled on. Yang Jingji patiently comforted me, but I couldn't hear anything. The last memory was him put me on his sofa. He asked me, "What's so good about that guy?" I mumbled, "He helps me pay off debts." "I can too, Yu Ming. I'm better than him. I know your likes and dislikes. I know how to make you happy. Yu Ming, I beg you, don't disappear again, okay?" I don't remember anything after that. The next day, I woke up in Yang Jingji's bed, unclothed. The dining table was filled with various types of sashimi. There was also a plate of oranges, sliced evenly. Yang Jingji said, "I took leave for you. You don't have to work today." "Okay." Just as I sat down, I suddenly jumped up. "You took leave for me?" "Yes." "How do you tell my boss?" "What's wrong? He will misunderstand. What's between us is real. What is there to misunderstand?" I was speechless. "I asked your boss, and you're not taking programming jobs because it's more convenient for your part-time jobs." "Yes, although programming jobs pay well, they always require overtime. I earn more by doing several part-time jobs each month than programming jobs. From next month, go back to programming jobs. You can quit the part-time ones." "No," I declined. "I've been out of touch with coding for a long time." "It's okay, I'll teach you again." He bowed his head, focusing on peeling shrimp, dipping it in seasoning, and placing it in my bowl. Just like before, he always carefully peeled every shrimp for me. During university, I actually didn't do well in programming classes, but having a genius boyfriend to tutor for free, it's hard to perform too poorly. I whispered, "I really forgot everything." Yang Jingji wrote a few lines on paper. Then he sat next to me. "These are some basics, I'll help you recall." This moment, it really felt like going back to the past. My boy sat beside me, gently explaining problems to me. After eating, I wanted to go back to my own home. I didn't let Yang Jingji send me. On the subway, daydreaming, suddenly received a WeChat message from Su Wanxing. "Yu Ming, don't let Jingji be sad anymore, okay?" "What do you mean? All these years, he actually wanted to repay you." "Repay what?" "Money." Su Wanxing sent a screenshot. Yang Jingji in the college dorm chat said, "Paid off, relieved." Others, "Congratulations, finally unloaded such a big burden, now you'll be spiritually free." Haha, I was confused. A debt message came in. "Debt has been fully repaid." Person repaying, Yang Jingji. All the blood in my body seemed to freeze. My hand holding the phone kept trembling, recalling everything. Yang Jingji frantically looked for me. After reuniting, promoted me, gave me a raise, the words spoken, the actions taken, including last night. Turns out, it was all to repay debts. Just that, yes, at the karaoke, Su Wanxing said he hated me. Maybe that was the truth. Yang Jingji doesn't like owing others. From beginning to end, I was just a big burden in his heart, a creditor. This moment, endless sadness engulfed me. I didn't even know how to blame him. 8 years ago, it was me who put him in an unequal position with me. From then on, it was hard to correct. There was a ball of unnamed fire in my heart, my fingers trembling. I messaged Yang Jingji, who let you pay off debts for me without permission. Isn't it good to have paid them off? You don't have to work multiple jobs anymore. I don't need it, Yu Ming, don't be stubborn. I should have done this long ago. I've always wanted to pay you back for the medical bills of my grandpa before he passed away. His words hurt me again. I will save up and pay you back. From now on, let's not contact each other except for work matters. Yang Jingji then made many calls to me. I didn't want to answer. I took an extra day off, locked myself at home, slept groggily, seemed like I was making up for all the sleep I missed over the years. Only the next morning did my mom tell me. Yang Jingji had been standing downstairs all night. I took the subway to work. Yang Jingji gave up his Porsche, accompanying me on the subway. At night, I went to the karaoke as usual. He just opened a small private room, sitting at the door, watching me come and go. He was like a moving statue, following me wherever I went, repeated for several days. I finally couldn't stand it, said, "Don't follow me anymore. If I don't follow, you'll disappear." He counted on his fingers. Disappear to other cities, disappear to the stairwell, disappear not answering calls. You make me worried, I choked up, said, "I promised to pay back the money. I won't disappear anymore. Do you not have trust between people?" Yang Jingji frowned. What did you say? I don't need the money back. He still acted as my shadow. Until Friday, he didn't appear. Su Wanxing called furiously. Yang Jingji got into a fight. Yang Jingji beat up Xiao Hui. The cause was they both attended an industry gathering today. They are not at the same table, so Xiao Hui probably didn't see him. Suddenly someone mentioned the vanished Yu family. Xiao Hui spoke eloquently. "Mister, Yu has a daughter named Yu Ming. She is so pretty. As hard as she was to chase before, now she's just as easy to handle. Her family hasn't cleared their debts, so I promised to help Yu Ming pay off the debts, and she obediently followed me. For such a girl, even spending so much money to take her home is worth it." Before he could finish, Yang Jingji's fist landed on him. In front of so many people in the industry, he beat up the rich kid of the Xiao family. Outside the treatment room, Su Wanxing blamed me. Jingji has no background, struggled to get here alone, harder than anyone, but now because of you, he's bound to offend some people. Su Wanxing was angry. Yu Ming, if you can't help him, can you at least not harm him? Harm? With what right are you questioning me? Su Wanxing was taken aback. You're just cooperating with him. Didn't you agree not to interfere in each other's private lives? He even told you that. Su Wanxing was shocked. In a moment, her eyes reddened, becoming very aggrieved. Yu Ming, although Jingji and I are just cooperating, I really like him. You've disappeared for so long. Just keep disappearing. Leave him to me. Okay, you like him? Yes, this was unexpected. But weren't you the one who started spreading rumors about Yang Jingji at school? Su Wanxing's face went deathly pale. I may have disappeared, but I didn't lose my memory. I coldly looked at her. Yang Jingji and I were together back then. You cornered me in the women's bathroom. Do you remember what you said then? You said, "Yu Ming, how much money do you spend to buy Yang Jingji?" Su Wanxing panicked. I don't remember. Later, someone called Yang Jingji a gigolo to his face. Did you forget that too? This ugly nickname also came from you, right? No, you're slandering. Oh? Should I find a few classmates to testify? She suddenly deflated. Please Yu Ming, I can give you any amount of money. Just don't bring this up again, okay? Don't tell Jingji. I was young and ignorant back then and hurt him, but I really like him now. I can make up for it. So until now, you think you only hurt him? I shook my head helplessly. Su Wanxing, you hurt me too. I'll apologize to you. She was in complete disarray. Please Yu Ming, don't tell Jingji. Don't ruin my image in his heart. Before she could finish, the curtain of the treatment room suddenly opened. Yang Jingji was standing at the window. It seemed he had been there for a long time. Su Wanxing was chased away, looking lost and pitiful. Yang Jingji is not a forgiving person. He hated those rumors to death. Naturally, He had no pleasant face for Su Wanxing. Yang Jingji doesn't usually swear, but he's a scholar. He was capable to make someone felt ashamed for life without a dirty word. Su Wanxing probably won't dare to see him again. Are you okay? I looked at Yang Jingji. His wounds were shallow and treated. Will this affect your company? Don't worry, it's not a big problem. But Xiaohui needed stitches. Stitches are too good for him. Wish he was disfigured. Yang Jingji suddenly laughed. That's right. What? That's more like you. You haven't spoken so recklessly in a long time. Say a few more sentences. I want to hear. Go to hell, all the businessmen, all a bunch of scammers. What else? Pork prices rose again. Are we even allowed to live? Very good. Continue. Damn overtime. I want to stay home and watch TV and sleep. Are you complaining about me? I didn't. Who dares? Only you dare. Sunlight shone on the snow. We bickered all the way. Suddenly it felt like returning to our student days. I vented all the emotions I had suppressed over the years, and as I talked, I started crying again. Can you wait for me? I will pay you back all the money. Yang Jingji began to panic again. What are you talking about? Also, why did you suddenly get angry before? It was wrong for me to pay off your debts without permission, but you can't just ignore me. You consider me a burden. How dare I bother you? Burden? Yang Jingji frowned. Who said that? Su Wanxing. Wait, could she be trying to drive a wedge between us? But the screenshot definitely wasn't fake. I pulled up the chat history. Yang Jingji got very angry seeing it. I was not talking about you. Yang Jingji took out his phone and showed me his own chat history. He told his dorm mates that he had cleared a batch of overdue project fees for the company. Then those conversations happened. The chat history somehow ended up in Su Wanxing's hands. She cut it, twisting the meaning. But how did she know you were going to help me pay off debts? When repaying debts for others, she had experience in this area, so I asked her a bit. Yang Jingji drove the car to his house. This was the third time I came here, but with a completely different mood. Let's clear things up today since we're here. Yang Jingji poured me a cup of coffee. Yu Ming, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you. Just ask. Why break up? I became a burden, and after thinking about it, breaking up was better. Not because you got tired of me. Stunned for a moment, I remembered, tired was the reason I gave for breaking up. As soon as this word came out, Yang Jingji walked away without looking back. He said heavily, I thought you treated me as a plaything, and after 4 years, you got tired of me, plus the family incident, I couldn't help much, so you didn't want me anymore. How could he think that? I opened my mouth, hadn't answered yet. Yang Jingji preemptively revealed his bottom line. Even if it's like that, it doesn't matter. He seemed afraid to hear the answer, taking the initiative to show his hand. Yu Ming, I've thought it through. Even just as a plaything, I still want to stay by your side. Yang Jingji's eyes were dark and moist, just like those days. It took me a while to digest his words before I spoke. You misunderstood. Huh, that was just an angry outburst. Yang Jingji, I never treated you as a plaything. I was serious about our relationship. Why was it an angry outburst? Before the graduation ceremony, you told your dorm mate you wouldn't marry me. Yang Jingji was taken aback. He recalled for a long time, then laughed helplessly. My intention back then was that I had just graduated and didn't have the ability to get married. Actually, I started looking at engagement rings very early, just couldn't afford them. We went through incident after incident, discovered that we had misunderstood each other. Why did it turn out this way? The fundamental reason was that our reality was too far apart. Yang Jingji thought I helped him just for fun, and I thought Yang Jingji was with me because he felt obligated, not willingly. I didn't believe he loved me. Back to the present. Yang Jingji asked, Yu Ming, why would you accept Xiao Hui's help but not mine? Because I like you. I don't want our relationship to develop like this. I suddenly understood. Yang Jingji nodded. Exactly. I felt the same way back then. Wait, did you like me too when I confessed? Yes, Yu Ming, I liked you, even before you. The first time we met during freshman registration, you said your name was Yu Ming, and I remembered it. Yang Jingji's narrative made me see how foolish I was back then. He fell for me earlier, just confessed a step later, and my way of showing love was wrong from the start. I tempted him with what he lacked the most. It was hard for him to speak up. He actually said many times that he liked me, but no one believed it. Everyone thought he was just saying it to please me. Over time, I believed it, and even he almost believed it. Did he like Yu Ming, or was it for Grandpa's medical bills? Countless times being mocked, countless times realizing our differences. Yang Jingji himself became confused. He was conflicted and twisted, tormenting himself day after day. Anyone could help him, just not me. Because money would change the flavor of love. Yang Jingji was so stubborn, he could have comfortably depended on me. But he didn't. That's why he's the boy I like. Yang Jingji began slicing an orange, bringing me back to the day we reunited. What did you mean by those words that day? You can have an angry outburst, can't I? I thought you got tired of me, dumped me, and directly disappeared for 4 years, as if deliberately avoiding me. Can't I get angry? I guess he can, but Su Wanxing said you hated me. Sorry, it was my fault. I didn't correct her in time. Yang Jingji slowly finished slicing the last piece of orange. He sighed lightly. After all, I thought you really didn't want me anymore. Snow fell outside the window, making the interior feel dry and warm. This moment, I finally confirmed, in the river of time, my boy had been struggling to come to me. At the school anniversary, Yang Jingji and I both went back. He, as a representative of outstanding graduates, had to give a speech. The school was still the same, only the youthful faces had changed batch after batch. There will always be people who are young, always people striving for dreams. In their prime, my graduate's name tag fell out of the pocket. A senior helped me pick it up. Surprised, "Senior, you are Yu Ming? Do you know me?" I interned at Mr. Yang's company. You are a celebrity in our company, really? I visited Yang Jingji's company once, just sat at the reception waiting for him. When the receptionist registered my name, it was the same reaction. Are you Yu Ming? But until today, I still didn't know why. The junior said, there was a set of core bottom algorithms for that project in the company, said to be written by Mr. Yang. When he first made this system, he left a comment, if you meet Yu Ming, please tell her, I love her. Anyone who interfaced with this algorithm can see this message. I was stunned for a long time, just listening to the junior happily say, it's great, Mr. Yang has finally found the person he was looking for. After the speech, Yang Jingji and I slowly walked along our past life tracks. We stopped at the library entrance. Yang Jingji looked at the big tree to the left. You confessed to me right here back then. Yes, I remember. I was so brave back then. He stared, his memories seeming to drift very far away. Yang Jingji, did you enjoy your university life? He struggled, was slandered, and also felt lonely. I thought he must have been unhappy, but Yang Jingji said, very happy, because you were there. All the pain turned into joy. He turned around, just like back then, looking down at me. Yu Ming, now it's my turn to say, it's almost the 9th year I've liked you. Can you give me a chance? Snow began to fall again. Snowflakes landed on his head. I smiled. In the new year, I will be in your care. Happy New Year, my boy. Happy New Year, my youth. Although we have regrets, we will always at our best. The first time I saw Yu Ming was at the new student orientation. She wore a white dress, passing through the sunlight-soaked corridor. From then on, all my dreams and fantasies had a specific form. I liked her, but I knew we were different. We came from 2 different worlds. She was the princess at the top of the ivory tower, candid and pure. Her feet had never stepped into the mortal world, untainted by dust. She was the moonlight, my unattainable. The source of all my inferiority. How could I dare to hope for her? Hoping even a little was a capital crime. My parents passed away early. Only my grandpa raised me. Last winter, my grandpa's legs got frostbitten and disabled. He could no longer work to support the family. All the burdens fell on me. I needed to pay the tuition fee and his medical bills, losing the quota for poor student aid. I felt like I was pushed into the abyss, doubting the fairness of it all. Never expected. The moonlight shone in at this moment. The second she said she liked me, my blood boiled, but when she said she'd pay for a kiss, I froze, and completely entered an ice house. What did she think of me? Someone who could be bought with money. But Yu Ming's eyes were too pure, showing no intent to play. I didn't agree with her, until my grandpa was critically ill, needing ICU. The high medical fees completely broke me. Yu Ming appeared, didn't even blink, and paid the money. She smiled again and asked me, be with me. Okay, this time, I agreed, not because of the medical bills, but because she pouted at me. I couldn't resist. Later I realized, Yu Ming's life was too smooth. She didn't even think having money was an advantage. Helping me wasn't to show off her strengths. Even in her eyes, money isn't a strength, money is just money. So, she was purer than anyone else. Yu Ming really liked me, always wanted to hold my hand wherever we went. Her hands were small and soft, without a single callus. I was afraid the calluses on my hands would rub against her, but Yu Ming liked it. rubbing back and forth with my hand. Sometimes I felt like a knight. Whatever the princess asked me to do, I dared to do. If the princess didn't speak, I didn't dare to approach her rashly. Yu Ming was also very proactive. Her proactiveness never made her seem frivolous, instead revealing sincerity and candidness. But gradually, rumors started at school. Even the teacher who valued me hinted at paying attention to my moral issues. I liked Yu Ming, but I didn't want to become the type of person they talked about. I thought about breaking up, but I couldn't bear to. Who could bear to leave Yu Ming? No one. She was a gift from God. The rumors got more and more outrageous. I immersed myself in books and work, trying not to listen to them. But one day, Yu Ming's father found me. He went behind Yu Ming's back, asked me to leave her. He said I wasn't worthy of their family. Of course, I didn't agree, although her father threatened me many times after. As long as Yu Ming didn't give up, I wouldn't let go of her hand. I had to prove desperately that I could love Yu Ming. I could provide her with a good future. What others' girlfriends had, she must have too. Roommates gave their girlfriends bracelets, then Yu Ming must have one too. I worked hard to save some money and bought her one, but sorry, my dear, I can't come to your birthday party. If my appearance would subject you to mockery and criticism, then I'd rather not appear. Stumbling into our senior year, I suddenly had an idea to buy an engagement ring. So expensive, I couldn't even afford the scraps. Just have to let Yu Ming wait a bit longer. Many companies sent me high salary offers. If someone invested, I also wanted to start a business. Slowly, I'd be able to afford an engagement ring. Then I'd buy a house, a wedding dress, everything she liked. My thoughts were approved by the company executives. I might get an early raise. When I was about to share this good news with Yu Ming, she proposed breaking up. She said she was tired. At that moment, I felt like a fool. What was I looking forward to? Looking forward to the moonlight pitying an ant? No, I was just a plaything. I left, locked myself away for 2 days. Then I realized, I couldn't be without Yu Ming. I would just be a plaything if she hoped so. I just had to do better than other playthings. I went to find Yu Ming, then discovered she had disappeared completely. I quit my job, relying on various rumors, entered unfamiliar cities to track down her whereabouts, wandering around. She always ran so fast, not even leaving a strand of hair for me. But I heard that her family went bankrupt. I had no money, couldn't help her pay off debts, so she left me. For the first time, I hated myself so much. Savings spent, I could only return to Beijing first, staying at a friend's house, started developing the system. As my network expanded, various details of the Yu family unfolded before me. I gradually woke up, understood one thing: bankruptcy wasn't just talk. Yu Ming's ivory tower had collapsed. She fell into the unfamiliar mortal world. How is she now? Is she alright? I'm so contradictory, angry on one side, yet worried about her on the other. Still couldn't find Yu Ming. To avoid debts, it seems their family changed names to live. I bought a lot of things Yu Ming used to like. Her favorite hand cream, it had a good smell. I bought the whole set, also bags, skincare products, just waiting for her to come back, then she could continue using them. The 4th year after Yu Ming disappeared, I finally saw her again. That night, I deliberately was the last to leave, waited for her to finish work, then followed her out. The elevator went down from the 20th floor to the 1st floor. Just a few minutes, but longer than my past 20+ years. Why did she pretend not to recognize me? Why did she always want to run away? Didn't want to see me that much? Risking being hated, I called her. The brim of the hat lifted. I finally saw her face completely. She became so thin, her eyes lacking the spirit of the past. She said she had a boyfriend now. I didn't believe it until that mediocre man appeared before me. I wanted to punch him. I'm a person who has always been upright. For the first time, I wanted to do something not very moral for myself. I wanted to steal Yu Ming back. I'm not poor now. I can give her a better life. Those debts are nothing. I'm very certain of my feelings now. I like Yu Ming, liked her past purity, and like her current resilience. In some ways, we are very alike. A new year has arrived. Yu Ming asked me, "What do you think is the most tenacious thing in this world?" I said, "Moonlight." She didn't understand, looking outside. But she didn't know that I was looking at her. I once thought the moonlight had fallen, but I saw her fall and stand up again. Life couldn't kill her. Why is it moonlight? She was still naively looking outside. Because even in extreme adversity, the moonlight never falls. I kissed her forehead. I will always love the moonlight.